I request Mr. Fawad Haider of Mobilink to come and present his views. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to thank Hamza Hashmi for inviting me over here and also TerraBiz team for organizing and arranging such a nice event. In my today's presentation, in the next couple of slides, I would like to give you an overview, a brief and high-level overview of our recent transaction with Warid Telecom, the merger, why we thought about this merger, what were some of the benefits we were looking at, what are some synergy buckets coming out of this merger, what was the process we followed, where we are right now in the whole process, and what were some of the key lessons we learned from this merger. So let me start by giving you an overview of the telecom sector right now. We are at a crossroad. Our traditional growth model is under pressure. Now, this traditional growth model was based on voice and legacy SMS. And as Nadeem Hussain Sahab also mentioned in his presentation, that this voice has reached its maturity. And the profitability of voice and legacy SMS is going down. People are moving towards data, and they're using applications like WhatsApps and Vibers of this world to communicate. And when they communicate through WhatsApp or Vibers, essentially they are not paying us or telecoms the way they used to pay us earlier. So, which means that our profitability from that communication is going down as telecom operators. So the good news is that the data traffic is increasing, the revenue from data is increasing, but the bad news is that to cater for that explosion in data, we need to invest heavily in newer technologies. So, for example, in the last couple of years, the telecom operators have spent $1.5 billion just to acquire 3G and 4G spectrum only. And on top of that, we have a very complex business model. Our fixed costs are very high. And that makes, what happens is that your revenue growth is stagnant, your fixed cost is increasing, and your profitability is decreasing. And on top of that, now you need to invest more and more into new technologies. And this business model cannot go on and not sustainable for telecom operators. So, in this slide, I just want to show you some of the data, some of the numbers of telecom sector. You can see on the left side, that the revenue for the last couple of years is stagnant. We have recently seen some high growth in data revenues, but that growth in data revenue is not enough to compensate for the decline in our voice revenues. On the high fixed cost side, as telecom operators, we are operating more than 40,000 towers, and there's a lot of fixed cost. We have thousands of employees. We have hundreds of service centers, and we have massive call centers to serve our customers, which means a very, very high fixed cost structure, and which also means that there's a huge economies of scale. So for bigger operators, it's easy to absorb this high cost, and it is reverse for smaller operators. So in telecom sector, everyone wants to grow their market share by reducing price or investing more, and because market share is directly proportional to your profitability. So on the right side, you can see the market share of 5 operators in Pakistan, and you've seen the newer entrants have gained market share by having massive price wars or investing heavily into technology and their geographical expansions. And if you see the Warid's market share, it has gone below 10%. Now, 10% is a critical number for telecom operators, and if in a market you have less than 10% market share, means your profitability is not enough to reinvest into newer technologies, which is essential for sustaining the telecom market. So what was the transactional rationale for Mobilink. When we acquired Warid, we consolidate our market leadership position. So we went from 30% market share to 40% market share. Our customers grew from 38 million to 50 million subscribers. So higher market share would ensure a higher profitability in the long run. Then superior customer experience. So Mobilink had about 10,000 cell sites, and Warid has about 5,500 towers or cell sites, which means coverage. So combined, the portfolio would be 15,500 cell sites, which means more towers, more coverage, and a better service to our end users. We are planning to decommission about 3,000 towers to get some cost synergies, but the remaining 12,500 towers would be far more what we had when we, as a standalone Mobilink. So that would also improve the customer experience. On top of that, Warid customer experience or the Net Promoter Score, what we measure our customer satisfaction, is highest in the market. And Mobilink ranks between second and third. So we'll also learn from Warid's experience in how to improve our overall customer satisfaction with the. Then there's some revenue opportunities we are looking at. Warid does not have a 3G spectrum, but they have refarmed or reused their 2G spectrum to provide 4G services. Mobilink has 3G but does not have 4G. So after this merger, we will be able to provide 3G and 4G services to the entire pool of customers. So that would bring additional revenue from the same customer. On top of that, we have mobile financial services by the name of Jazz Cash, which we can offer to Warid customers, and thus, increase overall revenue of both companies. Best-in-class mobile network, I already mentioned, more sites, more coverage, more network, and also giving 3G and 4G flavor to all of the customer base. And then the last, but not the least, is cost synergies. And in a mature market, the maximum synergy you get is from the cost. And I can share some of these pools of synergies. On the right side is revenue. I already mentioned MFS. And on the below the line are some of the dis-synergies, because you also lose some of the revenues. So when you merge two networks together, initially you have some churn. So we have shown some customer who churn, due to degradation of some services. So we need to give it as a dis-synergy. On the OpEx side, you can see the biggest bucket is coming from the technical OpEx, which is when we shut down the overlapping 3,000 cell sites, we save a lot of OpEx, a lot of fixed cost, which is saved. On top of that, you save on HR costs, some of the positions which become redundant, some of the buildings, some of the other network element. You also save on cost, on CapEx. And from the Warid merger, we got one additional synergy that was on 4G spectrum. Recently, Telenor acquired 4G spectrum at a cost of about $400 million. Since Warid had that spectrum, we did not have to go for that bidding, and we now planning to give 4G services on the spectrum Warid already had. But of course, there is a dis-synergy because we need to renew Warid's license in the next couple of years, which is their 2G license. So that's a dis-synergy. There could be one-off cost because when you need to integrate two networks, you need to invest in the network swap. There's some integration cost. Some of the legacy equipment would be shifted, and so you need to invest some of the money over there. But overall, this merger will give us a synergy of $115 million per year and an NPV of $500 million. So that's the value creation of Warid merger for Mobilink's shareholders. And why this merger was good for the customer. So this is the same synergies or the same benefits which I gave from the Mobilink side, and and now this is from the perspective of the customers. best-in-class mobile network. We can offer new product and services to these customers. The customer experience would be far superior. And then, of course, we can reinvest the money which we save through cost synergies. And on the right-hand side, easier availability of services. Just to give you an example, Mobilink had about 350 service centers and franchises across Pakistan. Warid had about 380. So combined would be more than 700 service centers and franchises across Pakistan, which means far more ease of accessibility for our customers. So there's some benefits for the country as well of this merger. First of all, this gives a very positive image of the country, and that the market is mature, the regulatory environment is mature enough to cater for such mergers, and the country is ready for new investments. Then, as far as Mobilink is concerned, after this merger, our parent group, Telecom, has far more focus on Pakistan. They want to invest more. They want to go into fixed as well and other revenues as well. And Mobilink has become one of the stars in Telecom's overall operations. And since we invest more, and we have seen that any investment in ICT sector has a direct implication, a positive implication on the overall economy of the country. A couple of words on the merger process. It's been more than 15 months since we started this process. Now we're in the final stage. We have got all the approvals from the regulators. We have recently filed our case with the Islamabad High Court for a legal merger, and that's a few weeks away, hopefully. And after that, it will be a completely merged entity. So we spent about 1 month in identifying the opportunity, a couple of months on target valuation, which includes business case, synergy, benchmarking, and everything. And at that time, we signed the initial term sheet last year, November. After that, a couple of months we spent on the due diligence of the target, the financial due diligence, the legal due diligence, the technical capabilities, technical assets. And then in the same time frame, we were also developing the deal documents. And on 30th June, we actually closed this deal and signed it. And after that, we got approvals from CCP, from PTA, from State Bank of Pakistan, from SCCP. We've got all those approvals, and now the case is with Islamabad High Court. Right now, we are at the most important part of the merger, that is post-merger integration. And like I think Adnan said, and also Samad mentioned, that a lot of mergers actually could not get the objective which they are meant for. And of course, those are the synergies or the benefits when you combine those companies. And it's very important to plan those things and cater for all the eventualities or outcomes that may arise. And as far as Mobilink is concerned, we have to deal with a lot of things when we are going to merge these two companies. We have a huge network of 15,500 towers which need to be merged. Some of the overlap towers need to be eliminated. Then more than 6,000 HR persons are there. And when we talk about mergers, the first thing the mind goes to is loss of jobs for people, and how to integrate and these cultures, how to ensure that the positions which get redundant are aptly filled, and you give equal opportunity to all the employees of both companies. So I mean, and most recently we have announced a voluntary separation, services separation, and that was very successful. Then the IT system, the huge IT system we need to integrate. And their real estate and communications and the brand, product and services, a huge lot of items which need to be integrated and planned before we actually realize the synergies, which we were targeting. The last slide is about key lessons, and there are some certain areas where these lessons are learned. The first is the transaction process itself and the negotiations between the partners. So I think what we learned is that you have to be very upfront, very transparent, very fair with the counterpart, and you should believe on a win-win situation, and especially if you are going into a merger, because then these guys will be on your board as well. If you hide something, of course, later on, it will be revealed. And a lot of things which actually you can get if you apply the approach of a win-win. Then in some of the cases, you need to be bold and take some risk, especially when you talk about synergies or evaluating the benefits of merger. A lot of the times, the people do not take risk, and they tend to reduce the synergy which could be acquired from the merger. So you need to be very proactive and positive about the merger. And there could be some things on which the outcome is not certain, right? Company A says the outcome would be X and give me a higher price. Company B says, no, the outcome would be lower, the price should be lower. In that scenario, what we have adopted approach of earn-outs. So we said, fine, we don't know what's going to happen. So if the outcome is X, we'll pay you this. If outcome is Y, we'll pay you this. So, and we have done it in a couple of things. Similarly, in communication, it's very important. Okay, yeah, okay. In communication, it's very important to communicate to all the stakeholders in a consistent manner, in a timely manner, whether they are your shareholders, whether they are your employees, your regulators, your lenders, everyone. It's very important. Human resources I've already talked about. All of the people should be given equal opportunity, whether it's an acquiring company or the company whose target. All of the employees should feel that the process is very transparent for them. And of course, one of the most important things for us was to manage the regulators. So we adopted a proactive approach with them. We informed them beforehand. We took their advice rather than telling them afterwards. And we also ensured that whatever remedies they have recommended to us after this merger, we have strategies to implement those remedies as well. And lastly, the integration is a very important thing. We spent a lot of months, and we have put a very good project management organization to ensure that the synergies which we planned will be delivered, and any mitigation plans. If the outcomes are different, we need to mitigate those outcomes. Thank you very much.